Hello, and welcome to the Portion Perfection Professional Weight Management series, where we share expert insights into all things relevant to weight management. I know that we've got a lot of new people to our group this month, so I'd like to clarify who we are. My name's Amanda Clark. I'm an Australian Advanced Accredited Practising Dietitian. The advanced component is awarded by the Dietitians Association of Australia to about 2% of the profession in recognition of a higher level of practice. I've been working in weight management and bariatric surgery for over 25 years, and my particular focus is on turning scientific concepts or research into not only advice, but physical, practical tools that help you to add healthy behaviours to your lifestyle. Portion Perfection is my toolkit for clarifying how much and what to eat in what proportions for weight management. And you'll find the main eating plan in the purple book for men, women and children, or the orange book if you've undergone any form of bariatric surgery. Today, to celebrate the release of our new and improved snacker, we're going to focus on snacks. Is it good to eat them? What should we be eating? How much to eat? When to eat? So thank you. Thanks for joining me, and let's get started. First, I'll give you a tour of the new product. Now, we have had a similar product for some years, but it hasn't been our own design, which has limited our ability to make changes or provide the printed guidance on the containers. These ones snap and click together. So previously there was a twist, but now you just bend it to break it off or snap it off. You can snap them together in any order. So I've actually changed the order of this one. And if you only wanted to take two, for example, you're just taking morning tea and afternoon tea, and you choose to take some nuts in the top one and maybe a boiled egg in the bottom, so you might leave the rest behind. If it hadn't involved that smallest one, you can just change the lid so that you've got your little handle. So you only take what you need. So although there's 4, if you're only packing for morning and afternoon tea, you might just take 2. They fit perfectly into our kit and carry lunch bag. They're specific sizes, as you can see on the slide. Each size container guides you towards natural, healthy snacks that you can fill the container with to form a 100-calorie snack. The 100-calorie snack size is appropriate for men, women, or children for weight management, and also for anyone who's had bariatric surgery. In fact, it's fine for anyone, and I suggest one snack or 100 calories per snack for weight loss, with 2 to 3 snacks a day, or 200 calories for weight maintenance, or 300 or more calories for weight gain per snack. You can also use it to carry protein powders or vitamins with you when needed. It's BPA and phthalate free. It's made of Triton, which gives it the clarity of as close as possible to glass, and it won't crack or become opaque or anything with time by putting it in the dishwasher. It currently comes in pink and the deep purple. We love it. It makes a great gift, and we're a very small business, so would love you to help to spread the word. So if you've got any images you can share on social media or send through to us, or reviews, we'd love to hear them. Now, there's no official definition of what a snack is. So I'm going to say it's when you consume small amounts of energy or nutrient-containing food or drink between main meals. It can occur at any time of day or night, and it includes a variety of foods. So it can be a convenient way to meet nutritional needs without having to consume large amounts at meals. So should we be snacking at all? Well, snacking is actually becoming a more prevalent behaviour in the world. We're seeing less food consumed at meals and more in snacks, generally 2 to 5 of them per day. The average person's consuming 500 calories per day in snacks. And to put that into perspective, a typical energy need is 1,800 calories per day for women, or 2,200 calories per day for men for weight maintenance. So 500 calories for snacks might not be a problem at all. For weight loss, I recommend 100 calorie snacks. So that could be a total of 300 calories from 3 snacks per day for weight maintenance, or for weight loss. Or if we're looking at weight maintenance, then I'd recommend a snack be about 200 calories, and that would give you about 600 in the day. So the problem may come from the types of food that are typically eaten at snacks, and exactly what that does to our metabolic health. Now, metabolic health really refers to our body's ability to balance our blood sugar, our blood pressure, our cholesterol, and our weight. So I'm saying that certain types of food decrease your own body's ability to manage these things. So sometimes things don't happen to us, but they're a result of the environment that we live in, and the food we consume is part of that environment. So snacking can be a positive thing or it can be a negative thing. The positive benefits from choosing healthy snacks can be seen in improved or more stable energy levels, a stable mood, controlled appetite, a narrower range of blood glucose levels without severe highs and lows, or lower cholesterol levels. And it can contribute to better nutritional balance because if you think about it, if you just eat 3 meals per day, depending what you choose, there may not be any fruit in your lunch or dinner meal, and it may not be part of your breakfast either. The same goes for nuts and seeds and yogurt. So a snack is really a good time to eat these, and it might be a better time than straight after your meal. So some people might have, if we thought of a sandwich as a typical lunch, some people might have sandwich and a piece of fruit. So they don't need to have that piece of fruit as a snack. But in fact, when it comes to weight control, you would be better off to split them. And that's because when you eat something, your body has the ability to use the energy from that food in the form of fatty acids, glucose, and amino acids. And it can use that energy straight away without those nutrients really becoming part of your body. You've digested the food, the breakdown products are in your bloodstream, they get used for energy and they're gone. So the more you eat, though, at any one time, the more your body will have to store away because you can't have your bloodstream loaded with glucose or fatty acids, etc., just waiting for you to burn it up. That's the purpose of storage. You will store some glucose as glycogen, and that's in your liver and in your muscles, but most of the excess will be stored as fat, along with the fatty acids and most of the amino acids. And then you have the opportunity to pull that back out from fat later when you need it. Now, some people's bodies are really good at storing fat away, and they're not so good at letting you take it back out. So for weight issues, the less that gets in there in the first place, the better. So that's why spacing food out into meals and snacks could well be better for weight management, for energy utilization. When we look at research and surveys, we find that young children and toddlers generally eat pretty healthy snacks, but teens switch their control to high energy, low nutrient value options. Once they're at uni, there's reportedly better awareness of the value of healthy snacks, but a lack of time and stress interfere with their actually gaining access to them. For adults, the frequency of snacking is influenced by what type of work we do and whether there's any meals skipped. If you're skipping meals, there tends to be more snacks. And depending on how much time you've got available, the quality of those snacks can suffer. So we're all actually snacking more often these days. In terms of our consumer demand, we're seeking healthier snacks, maybe those that are high in protein or high in fiber, maybe low in sugar, maybe they're vegan or they've got natural ingredients. We're still actually holding on to some aspects of those less healthy desires, though, because we're looking for healthier snacks with more indulgent flavors. So think about the number of packaged products on the market that are now salted caramel flavour, or there might be churro flavour or cookies and cream. And here's a cookies and cream yogurt, which is a good example. The quality of your snacking really has an impact on your weight and your cholesterol, as we've noted. But the energy, sugar, salt, and nutrient level, as well as the amount of processing, also affect your blood pressure and your dental health. In Australia, the most popular snack is actually a savoury snack. So that might be popcorn, potato crisps, corn chips. And then the next on the list is health-related snacks. So that's muesli bars or rice crackers. Then we come down to chocolate, to sweet biscuits, to ice cream, to lollies or chewing gum, and then dips and frozen desserts. If we look at the American market, cookies are reportedly the most prevalent snack, followed by potato chips, by ice cream, then yogurt, sweets, nuts, and chocolate. And if we bring the UK into it, potato crisps are the most popular, followed by cookies or biscuits, chocolate, yogurt or cheese, nuts, sweets, and ice cream. So notice that fruit doesn't actually fit into the top 5 for any of us. It actually comes in at about number 8. So how do we deal with this and take control of our own life and our metabolic health? Well, let's look at the key pointers. Firstly, I think it's really important to plan ahead and be organised so that you take convenient snacks with you if you're out. With the snacker, you can just fill the smallest container of your snacker with nuts for a really easy snack that fits in your handbag or is easily carried in the car. You might know from the Portion Perfection book, if you're familiar with it, that 14 cashew nuts or almonds is a 100-calorie serve. And that actually fits all the Portion Perfection eating plans for weight management. But how often are those cashews all broken up? And then how do you figure out what 14 cashews is? Well, that's one of the benefits of the snacker. Whether it's broken cashews or it's pine nuts or Brazil nuts, the amount that fits in that smallest container is approximately 100 calories. So it doesn't matter if they're broken. Nuts are something that often doesn't appear in meals. So a snack is a perfect time to benefit from their protein, from their healthy fats, their fiber, their vitamin E, and all the other benefits. There's a whole lot of benefits in any plant-based food that enhances our health. They're not technically vitamins, some of these phytonutrients, but the definition of a vitamin would be that if you don't eat it, then you get a deficiency disease. So no deficiency diseases specifically from missing out on the phytonutrients, but the phytonutrients definitely protect our health and enhance our health. They protect us from cancer and heart disease specifically. Be portion savvy. So the evidence is that the bigger the container we eat out of, the more we serve ourselves. And the more we serve ourselves, the more we eat without significant awareness. So that's why we encourage the containers that do the measuring for you. So you don't have to think about it. Just put the food that matches the container in and you're done. Your brain can also clearly see how much you're intending to eat. So it knows when you're halfway through, when you're nearly finished, and when you're finished. Whereas if you're eating from a larger bag of nuts, for example, there's no clear stopping point. And if you're not paying good attention, it's very easy to consume large quantities. Choose healthy. The most controlled our food desires are is in the morning. And maybe that's the truth for you. What it means is that you're pretty clear-headed in the morning, you're pretty motivated for the day, and you're able to make healthy decisions. You've not yet been affected by the stressors of the day or the hormonal changes that may trigger cravings later in the day. So make good choices for yourself. You've got a much better chance of following through. Go natural. So we've always known that foods high in sugar or saturated fats weren't a good choice. But there's growing evidence pointing at additional factors about our packaged food choices. Whilst it's still not perfectly clear what components of ultra-processed foods we need to watch out for, or whether it's all ultra-processed foods, we've taken steps to alert you to particular ingredients in the Australian version of Portion Perfection, and to start to exclude specific ingredients to our criteria for an everyday food. And we can talk more about ultra-processed foods another time, but for now, I think it's clear that natural foods are ideal. They're also cheaper. Using the snacker encourages you to use natural foods without the need for plastic wrap or to pack packaged snack foods when you go out. Be prompt. So if you're prone to cravings, experiment with what foods help you to avert the feelings, but be sure to get in before the feelings arise. Once you've actually got an intense craving for chocolate, for example, a piece of fruit usually just won't cut it. So if you tend to be drawn to less healthy choices at 3 p.m., be sure to have a snack at 2 or 2:30 to experiment and see if you can avert that craving. And pay attention. So even with snacks, it really pays to be mindful. It really helps your brain recognize what you're doing. On the Portion Perfection standard size plate, I've put the prompts around the outside to guide you through what to think about when eating to help you feel satisfied from your head rather than just waiting for your stomach to say it can't fit any more in. And that's about mindful eating or conscious eating. So the first step is to have a good look at what you're about to eat. So if, say, it's a muesli bar, you're having a look at that muesli bar and just seeing what shape it is, how big is it, maybe how does that serving size match how hungry you're feeling at the moment, so you've got something to compare to later. And notice the variety. So what are the ingredients in there? Is it oats or is it some other grain? Are they cranberries in there or is that raisins? And then smell the food. So notice the aroma. Does it smell fresh? Does it smell stale? Can you notice the aroma of a particular ingredient? And it really doesn't matter what you think of the aroma, whether you're actually thinking it smells a bit stale. You don't have to love it to eat consciously and thereby be ready to stop eating sooner. So there's actually 3 things to do before anything goes in your mouth. Have a good look at what you're about to eat. Notice what are the components and smell it. Then, with every mouthful, notice the texture. Try to put a word to that texture. Is it smooth? Is it crunchy? Is it chewy? What is it? And try to settle on the right word that properly describes it. Notice the temperature. So is it at room temperature? Has it been in a hot car? Has it been stored in the fridge? What do you think about the temperature that it's been stored at? Does it seem to be the ideal for the flavors? Do you think it might be interesting if it was served warmer or cooler? And then notice the flavors. So sometimes imagine that you didn't see what you're putting in your mouth. What can you figure out from the flavors that you identify? Can you tell the difference between a raisin and a cranberry? And if so, how are you telling the difference? How do you recognize that flavor? That's how to slow right down, enjoy the snack, and be ready to move on and do something else when it's done. You know, it's very easy to eat mindlessly and to have finished something without paying attention. And then you go, oh, darn, I actually wanted to have something to eat. Now I've missed my opportunity. I ate it and I didn't even notice it, didn't even enjoy it. Maybe you've noticed that you tend to eat what the people around you eat. So I want to encourage you to be a role model. We're all role models for each other. And to be a role model sometimes takes a little thought and intention. And sometimes it requires you to do something a little different from what you might otherwise have done if nobody is watching. There's a saying that our eating habits are the balance of the 5 people we spend the most time with. I don't know what scientific backing there is to that statement, but it makes sense, and no doubt it applies to many areas of life. Unfortunately, these days, there are some undercover people in our social circle. The people on the TV and on social media also influence our sense of what is normal and acceptable. And many of those are sponsored by the food industry. So you've got to be aware of what modeling is influencing your behavior. You know, the latest thing at medical conferences is that a company exhibiting might have free ice cream at their stand to attract the professionals to come and talk to them during breaks. So then we have a group of health professionals who wouldn't have considered going in search of an ice cream at morning tea at the conference, but they're deciding to have one because it's there and it's free. So then we get the flow-on effect, because now it's the norm to be eating an ice cream in the trade exhibit. Everybody else is doing it. It removes any discomfort or stigma that may have existed if it was just a shop outside the convention centre. Probably none of us would go out there and buy an ice cream at morning tea. I actually had one too, so I know it works. And doing this occasionally is no disaster. But what if you work in this type of environment where there is choc chip cookies or fundraiser chocolates in the tea room every day, and seemingly everybody eats them, so it feels normal and easy to do that too? What hope do you have of not eating them and changing your pathway? So what we need is a plan and an awareness of the dangers. So being aware that everyone's eating chocolates at morning tea in the tea room. Maybe we need to not go to the tea room if that's a real problem. Sometimes having a bit of an attitude can help. So maybe if you can conjure up a concern that there's been rats rolling around in the chocolate box or the cookie jar every night, that can be helpful for saying no, along with taking your own food. Don't engage with the food. Don't engage with the food you're trying not to eat. Don't look at it and say, oh, I'd really love that, but I won't today. If the tea room is a valuable space for you maybe to socialise in, then take your snack in and focus on the socialising. And prepare yourself for that before you walk in so that you can get into the routine. Look the person that you're wanting to talk to in the eye and don't dwell on what they're eating. It doesn't make you feel good in the long run to think about what you're trying not to eat. So you can either think about taking a friend and going outside, or start having the conversation with other people in the workplace and see, how do other people feel about this? Is this a trap for a lot of people? Would it be better if those things were available but out of sight? Or could we get some better things into that tea room? And that's all part of being a good role model. Teaching your children, and this point is around guiding particularly teenagers about some tasty, easy options for arriving home hungry after school. So think about soup or a boiled egg, toasted sandwiches, a pizza muffin, cereal, frozen juice, smoothies, yogurt and fruit and cheese platters, veggie sticks with dip, any of those sorts of things. They're not necessarily portion controlled, but get nourishing food ideas in place and they may never need portion control. And count the drinks as snacks. I think many people forget about drinks being a snack, but often they contain more energy than the food. A small milk-based coffee will generally contain about 100 calories depending on the size. It can actually go right up to about 700 calories with some of the enormous servings and some of the cream or the flavorings that you can get added to it. But that means that if you have a coffee and a food-based snack, then you've had more than what I'd recommend as a weight loss snack. So if you like a hot drink, a black coffee or a cup of tea of some kind doesn't contribute to your energy intake, so there's still room for food. But otherwise, consider the milk-based coffee your snack. It's done. And surround yourself with healthy foods to give yourself the best chance of making good decisions. They have to be there. If you find that you've got food on your mind regularly, which is a common problem today, then keeping it out of sight can help to keep it out of mind. Clear your environment of unhealthy options and put barriers in the way of overeating wherever possible. Pack your snacker and set your alarm if you need to remind yourself to actually eat at a particular time, particularly before cravings might hit. So they're my tips for snacking. A reminder of who's on our team if we can help you on an individual basis. I'm the director. I'm not taking clients at the moment, but my colleagues Madison Bartlett and Annie Brady are. They're both fully qualified dietitians with an interest in food. Madison has a particular interest, apart from weight management and bariatric surgery, but also in disordered eating and in gut problems. And Annie Brady has a background of 10 years as a chef. So she's really interested in finding interesting ways for you to meet your nutritional needs, and she's got some great ideas for recipes. We provide a number of services. So we've got our portion perfection system, which can be completely DIY. You can come on to these free webinars. I do a training every month. You can find us on social media. There's some great people in our Facebook groups who share pictures of their food on their plate or in their bowl. And that is a great way for accountability, just publicly posting what you ate. Now, it's not actually public necessarily, it's in a private group, but you're showing all the other people in that group what you had to eat. And that's you putting a stamp of, I did it on the day. We've talked about consultations, which can be face-to-face, but we're in a small area in Tweed Heads, so covering the lower Gold Coast and northern New South Wales in Australia. But we do telehealth, telephone consultations and email consultations. So the consultations only available in Australia. We do also have menu planning, which is available worldwide. So we have a large database of recipes. We can make meal plans to fit your nutritional needs and your likes and dislikes. Or we can provide you access to our database of recipes as a subscription, and you can create your own meal plans. We'll give you a starter meal plan, so you've got one to start with, and then you can swap things in and out yourself. And we've also got online courses for bariatric surgery. You can find them at beyondbariatricsurgery.com, or there's also a way to purchase them through our usual website. So get in contact. Our websites are there. In Australia, we're greatideas.net.au. In the US, we're portiondiet.com or amazon.com/portionperfection if you prefer to purchase on Amazon. On social media, we're on Facebook and Instagram as Portion Perfection and also as Beyond Bariatric Surgery. I hope you've enjoyed this session on snacking. I look forward to catching up with you again in the future, and I'll see you on social media. See you next time. Bye.